I enter into this that I was quite a popular kid in school. And I've already told you that I got 4 letters in boxing, but I got 2 additional letters because I was a cheerleader. So I had 6 letters. So that meant I was mixing with the kids. Carol, she got 3, she was cheerleader 3 years in junior high, but her senior year in high school. And so we were cheerleaders together, which helped to kind of seal the deal between us. But the problem of that, and I can't recall if I have told the story, when I was elected cheerleader that senior year. Well, we had 2 parties. So Carol and I was on one party, kind of like Democrats or Republicans, and then the other party. So they had their team, and we had our team. On the cheerleading part of the party, it was Carol Stanger and Doug Snarr. And I think we were rather a formidable couple in that context. Well, but we had to go on the stage, and we had to give our pitch to all the students in the student body. Now that was really something tough. Now stutters can sing and not stutter. Well, being a cheerleader, that just fits in beautifully. Stutters can scream and not stutter. Being a cheerleader, that just fits in beautifully. And stutters can speak in unison. That's just perfect because stutters can do that in unison with everyone as we're all going through a particular yell. But we had to stand there and introduce ourselves. We're not screaming, we're not yelling, we're just talking to the student body. And they're going to determine who's going to be the cheer queen and the cheer king. So it's my turn. I go first. Now what I had done was I had figured out to introduce a new yell. That's not part of what we have been doing in the past. So I start off trying to explain why I should be, with Carol, the cheerleader. And I am jammed up. I'm having a difficult time. And I know I'm going to lose this ball game right here. And I shifted a gear, and I screamed. I said, "We're going to do a new yell." I yelled it out loud. I was able to say that. Now, I don't know whether I can even recall the yell, except it goes, "IF will shine tonight. IF will shine. IF will shine tonight all down the line. We wear the orange and black, that's a good sign. When the sun goes down and the moon comes up, IF will shine." Now, I introduced that. And I was smart enough to get that typed up and kind of spread around the, let's call it the student body. And they all jumped in. Well, that did it. Carol came on, and she was just Carol. Everybody liked Carol. She just comes across as, "I'm one of you, and you're with me." Carol's genius in this life has always been, even though she comes from a very highly respected family, much, much respected in that community, she never has thought that she's better than anyone, nor does she think she's anything less than anyone. Carol is comfortable within herself because she has that inner deep confidence that she's all right, not better nor less. Now me, I'm a mixed up baggage of stuff. It all depends upon the context. So now she is that even keel. She just levels me out. She brings that dimension that I just simply don't have. Because I come from a very rough and tumble situation. And I've mentioned that before with my mother and so on. Very different. And Jim thinks I'm mean, and on we go. Well, where she came from an environment where she never ever heard an ill word spoken between her two parents. And the kids just loved each other. And they got along just fine. Where mine was different. Somehow there was a spirit of competition within the matrix of my family, particularly with the children. And I think that in a way is tragic. But it's the way it was. Carol did not come from that environment at all. Nothing like it. Everyone was just wonderful. And never had any problem. They didn't fight. Well, so you can well imagine her influence on me. Now, to give you an idea, after I got through that first date where I couldn't say Carol, I had a hard time with my own name. I'd never like to go inside her house because I might have to talk. That stayed with me all through school. I didn't want to go in there. Only if I had to go in there because I knew I would have difficulty. The pressure was too much on me. But with Carol, this is what happened. All the time that I have known her, a 7.5-year courtship before we were married, and after, she never mentioned the word stuttering once to me. Nor did she ask me any questions about my impediment. She saw me have moments of real, I call it just savage impairment or aberration with my speech. And it kept getting worse, not better, as time went on. So time was working against me. Now, it reached the apex in high school. The kids liked me, and I took seminary for 4 years. In the junior year, they chose me to be the chair king, but they also chose me to be the president of the seminary. Now, I thought that was pretty neat. I'm the president of the seminary, and it was built right across the street from the high school. Separate building, very, very nice, 2 teachers. It's a lovely building. You just couldn't ask for a better situation. And I took the same teacher all 4 years. She took the same teacher all 4 years, and it was the other teacher. So she was with Mr. Brown. I was with Ben E. Call. Ben E. Call. Don't kiss a girl until after you're married. I heard that. I don't know how many times. I thought that was the biggest bunch of baloney in the world. But anyway, that's me. So, there we go. But that's as far as I went with her. I learned the president of the seminary has to speak to the graduating class at the annual banquet of those that graduate at the end of the year. Now, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have allowed myself to even be considered to be the president of the seminary. So that became the last and most impressive moment of stuttering in my life in terms of how it affected me. So as I approached that moment of having to stand up there in front of those parents, part of which there'll be Carol's mother and father there, Carol will be there, and I'm going to have to say something worthwhile. And so I tried to pump myself up. And with different types of, let's say, literary inducements to help elevate me so that I can go into that moment successfully. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win and you think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Think big and you will grow. Think small and you'll fall behind. Think that you can, and you will. It's all in the state of mind. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Well, that became my premise, my motto. I have remembered that all of my life. But as the date neared, and I was quoting that to myself, I found myself becoming sick. I guess they call it a psychosomatic illness. So all this pumping myself up and all this thinking I can do it, it seemed to not quite make it with me. And now it's a week before I have to do it. And I find myself in bed, sick. And I was sick. And now we're 3 days out. And I tell my mother, Mother, I do not want to embarrass anyone that's in attendance, which more than anything else would be Carol and her mother and her father. I'm sick. I was sick. I can't do it. Will you call Brother Benny Call and tell him that I will not be at that graduation ceremony? I believe that this became the most cowardice act of my entire life. I chickened out, to be honest about it. Well, she did. And so the vice president, who was John Groberg, and John Groberg was my wife's first date, he spoke in my place. And I was brokenhearted. I stayed home. Well, John Groberg went on and became a general authority. Me, I won the girl. I got the girl. So I feel that everything turned out fine.